Welcome to the 2021 Virtual STEM Field Trip, presented to you by the Dee Howard Foundation and the Intercultural Development Research Association. We're so excited to have you here this morning. Let me double check the chat, make sure we're good. Awesome, awesome, great. So everybody's got their technology working. So I'd like to introduce Wayne Fagan, the chair of the Dee Howard Foundation. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wayne Fagan. I'm chair of the Dee Howard Foundation, and we're just delighted to have the opportunity to be with you this morning and to put this program on with IDRA. It's special meaning to me because when I first visited Brentwood, I was sitting in the waiting room before I was admitted into the inner sanctum. And I noticed a plaque on the wall, which was the year of the dedication of Brentwood. And that particular year, 1965, I actually was teaching in Head Start in Edgewood School District. And so we've had a long relationship with Brentwood, and we're delighted to be with you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Such rich history. I love that. I'm Dr. Stephanie Garcia. I work at IDRA. I'm an education associate there. I'm also the lead for the region of Texas for the Chief Science Officers program. So I'm excited to serve Woodstein School of Innovation as we have our Chief Science Officers who are busy, and we have our awesome advisor as well. So I'm so excited to be here and to be able to provide this fun opportunity. You know, we wish we could do this in person, but this is the next best thing. So I appreciate everybody being here this morning and for us just sharing our time with you. Thank you so much. I'd also like to invite our STEM professional that we are working with today. We're so excited to have Bianca Rhodes, the president and CEO of Knight Aerospace and the vice president of the Dee Howard Foundation. Would you like to say hello?
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. I'm super excited to be with everybody today and can't wait to share my experiences with Knight Aerospace with you.
Thank you so much. We're excited to hear about Knight Aerospace, and we thank you for your time. We know you're very busy. Thank you so much. And we're so excited to hear about your STEM journey as well. I'd like to welcome as well, of course, Ashley Sanchez, our awesome innovation coach from Woodstein School of Innovation and our Texas CSO advisor. Would you like to say good morning to the group? Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to see you all here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love this logo, by the way. This is a really fantastic logo for Brentwood. I also would like to say good morning to our Chief Science Officers, Reagan and Owen. Would you like to unmute yourself and say hello and welcome the group?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I am CSO Owen of Woodstein.
And I'm CSO Reagan from Woodstein Middle School.
How is everyone doing today?
Great.
Yay, awesome. Thank you, Mr. Kano. Nice to see you too. Thank you. All right, well, we are going to kick it off with a really fun walkthrough. So we're going to pretend like we are in person at Knight Aerospace, and we're going to walk around the amazing facility, and we will then watch a video of kind of, it's going to begin with kind of the process that they go through and all the different parts and all the key people at Knight Aerospace. And then it's going to kind of end with a really nice video to show a finished kind of product as well. And so Ms. Rhodes, if you ever want me to pause so that you can talk, you can, or if you want to talk afterwards, that's fine too. But we're really excited to go on our field trip. Okay, so let's do this. I'll go ahead and push play. But I will pause it really quickly to make sure that the audio is working, okay? Is the audio working? Okay, let me try this. I'm gonna reshare just to make sure. I can click share sound and make sure that that's gonna work again. Let's see if it works now. Yeah, okay. Go ahead and make it bigger.
While aeromedical evacuations remain the same at their core, the environment requiring them is changing. The scale of the current pandemic triggered the RCAF to act decisively in order to keep providing key services safely. The need to protect aviators, combined with the need to support the Government of Canada now and in the future, has resulted in a series of procurements to reduce the risk of contamination of medical teams, aircrew, and aircraft while transporting infected patients. One of these procurements is the Aeromedical Biocontainment Evacuation System, which is a large sea container-sized containment unit. This specially designed large isolation unit fits in the RCAF's C-130 Hercules and C-17 Globemaster aircraft to provide a safe, comfortable, and hospital-like space where multiple infected patients can be kept and treated by medical staff while ensuring the safety of the aircraft's crew during flights. The ABES container can be sealed with a high-efficiency ventilation system to prevent contagions from escaping, and specialized refrigerator units that can store and transport medical supplies, including vaccines. The refrigerator units will soon be used to transport the COVID-19 vaccine to Canadian Armed Forces personnel deployed around the world. The ABES, which recently achieved initial operating capability, is the first of its kind in Canada and may be used in the future to support other government departments with the movement of patients with significant infectious diseases.
Okay, well, we are so thankful to have this opportunity to collaborate all together and to see what Knight Aerospace looks like. We'd love to hear from you, Bianca. I'm going to go ahead and try to stop sharing this in just a second. Let's see. Go back to this real fast. Let me go ahead and try to pull that back up again. While I'm doing that, Bianca, would you like to kind of narrate a little bit about what we saw?
Sure. And once again, thank you so much for having me on today. I love education. I love sharing my experiences with students because I loved going to school, just like I'm sure everybody out there loves going to school every day. So Knight Aerospace is a super interesting company. We build products that help cargo aircraft. Cargo aircraft is different from the aircraft that you would be familiar with that take people from place to place. Cargo aircraft transport cargo, and cargo can be equipment, it could be food. Most of the time they're taking food and equipment to places where our soldiers are. Sometimes they're taking people, but they're not intended to take people. So for instance, during a disaster, a hurricane or a tsunami, they use cargo aircraft to take people and lift them out of the areas that they're in and take them to hospitals or to other areas. And because they transfer people, and they were not really intended for people, we build structures that go inside of that help them to take people in a more comfortable and safe environment. And what you saw today was an example of that. Our newest product is a biomedical containment unit. So it's like a hospital room that goes on the back of a cargo aircraft, and it helps to take people who are COVID patients to hospitals. So for instance, the Royal Canadian Air Force that you just saw in the video just had a mission over to Africa to pick up 4 Canadians that were severely infected with COVID-19 and bring them back to the country of Canada. So this is really important work that our products do. What you saw in the video is a wide range of the jobs that go into the making of those products. We have just under 50 employees, and we have a really wide variety of jobs, and they're all in this wonderful area called aerospace because we support aircraft. These people range from, you saw several engineers that were working on the designs. Everything that we build, we design ourselves. So we have electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, aerospace engineers, and biomedical engineers that collaboratively work together to build the best product for our customers. So they design everything from scratch, and then it goes to an area called planning. And there we have people that take all those drawings and they plan how the structure is going to be built on the manufacturing floor. So they write work orders and stuff so that people will know exactly what steps to take and what parts to use to build the product. Then we go to purchasing, and purchasing buys all of the equipment and parts that are going to be needed for that. You also saw materials control. This is where all of the parts come in and we receive them. We see what they are. We make sure that they're what we ordered, and then we put them out on the floor so that our production staff can actually build the product. And of course, you saw a lot of people in production actually building the products that we create. There are other functions in the company, like mine. We have people that work on human resources, so taking care of our employees, accounting and finance. We have, a wonderful receptionist. We have sales, the people that go out and sell our products. We have products in 34 countries all over the world.
Wow.
So it's super exciting. We have salespeople here that work on that, and we also have representatives in other countries because we just can't be everywhere, as you might imagine, with only a few employees. So that's a little thumbnail sketch about the company and like the employees that we have that make the company work and make the company great. We believe that the most important thing is for people to enjoy what they do every day. I think for us to have a great company, people have to come here every day and know what our purpose is. So we talk openly and often about our purpose, which is to save lives. We build products that make the aircraft safe for people to be inside of it, which is not a normal thing. So we take a lot of pride in that. That's our big purpose. And we like to have fun doing it. We figured if you're going to spend this much of your day at work, it should be fun, and you should enjoy it, and you should go home with a great sense of purpose at the end of every day.
Oh, that's awesome. And you all are just minutes away from Brentwood. I think I looked it up on the map. It was less than 10 minutes away. So how cool that such an awesome company is just minutes away, and you all are serving over 30 countries, saving lives. And I'm just so glad we were able to share this information with all the CSOs and the students here. This is incredible. This is incredible. And I wanted to kind of note for students as well as just a personal reflection is, STEM careers, just as the fields of study, aren't segmented by science. Oh, that's all science. This is all technology. This is all engineering. That's all math. But it's really beautiful to see the merge of all the different STEM subject areas and everything into this career, this STEM career. It's really great to see the medical field mixed with aviation, mixed with all the engineering that I saw happening in the drawings. Maybe they were on the computers. A lot of things happening here, and the technology that they're using was incredible. And so I think that that's really important to note, is that sometimes, we go to our science class and our math class, but that's not really how it is in career when it comes to life like this and what we saw in the video. Really neat, really, really neat. Well, I'm so grateful again for your time today. And I know that what we have scheduled is a fun interview with CSOs Reagan and Owen, and they wanted to ask more about your STEM journey as a professional in the field, so that all of the students listening in today, and adults, I know I'm going to learn something new too. We would like to kind of see what your STEM journey was like, and maybe we have a student in the virtual room who wants to be in aviation like this or wants to help save lives like this. And this is where they see the future kind of going, and they want to be able to be in this field, but they don't know how to get there. So we would love to learn from your journey, maybe hear some of your advice too for students. And so I'm going to go ahead and pass it along to CSOs Reagan and Owen so that they can interview you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to do a time check. We've got at least 10 minutes for this portion, and then we can have a little bit of time for Q&A afterwards. So I'll go ahead and leave it to Reagan and Owen.
Good morning. So I do have one question. What is the most challenging part about your job?
I think the most challenging part of my job is to making sure that the culture that we have at our office is the culture that I envision that we need to be successful. It is, everybody has a family, everybody has a life, everybody has issues that they're trying to take care of and challenges. So when they come through the door, I want them to feel relieved and here. I want them to feel challenged by the work that they have. I want them to feel satisfied that they're doing something that's important. And so we do a lot of things to make sure that that happens each and every day, but that's a challenge. You have to work at it constantly.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does the future look in your field of work?
Yeah, so sadly, COVID taught us something. It taught, we started the medical part of our business after the Ebola outbreak, which you guys probably don't even remember, but it was another type of pandemic that happened about 7 years ago. That one, though, was very contained. Only a few people were infected, and they were able to contain it before it spread throughout the world. This pandemic was very different, and it spread very quickly, and it went all over the world. And unfortunately, what it taught everybody is that this could happen again. So the future for our company, I think a lot of people will be interested in medical modules because they understand that transferring people safely in a hospital-like environment is going to be super important, and they're just going to have to do it. And so we're having, and the militaries are also recognizing that. The militaries is generally who we sell to because they own this kind of aircraft. And they know that they are going to have to be doing this more and more. So we want to be the provider of that solution, unfortunately. So that's an opportunity for us. And it's a way for us to contribute to the world a great solution to a problem that I think might be here, here to stay.
Thank you. So tell me about your job. What are the core components
of my job? Oh boy. So no 2 days ever look alike. I do all kinds of things. So I'm the chief executive officer. That means that I have to support everybody in the company to make sure that they have the tools that they need to be successful. That will mean that the company will be successful. So reporting to me, I have sales, I have accounting, I have finance, I have human resources, I have operations. So operations includes engineering, purchasing, planning, program management, production, materials control. So all of those different job functions and managers report to me. And my job is to make sure that it all flows very smoothly, that they're all communicating with each other, that we're working as a team, that they all know what the mission is and that we're all moving in that direction together. That they understand what their job is and that they're doing it to the best of their ability. So my job is to support them to make sure that they have the education, the training, the computers, whatever they need to become very successful. And so my job is just to make it all kind of come together and make it work successfully. I also spend a good bit of my time in our community. I think it's very important for us to be involved in our community. Organizations like the Dee Howard Foundation, which is sponsoring this today and which I'm involved with, are very important to our community. My future employees are probably sitting, listening to me today. And so I spend a lot of time talking to you guys because I want you to come work for me someday and I want you to be happy about it. And I want you to learn about all the different opportunities and job choices that you have. So I spend a lot of my time doing that because I just love that. I think it's important.
So you're like the glue of the business.
Yeah, it all kind of, the buck stops here. There's an old saying that says the buck stops here, which means all the problems and things can happen, but at the end of the day, I'm the one who's the most responsible for everything.
What skill set is your business looking for?
What skill set? So, really and truly, we operate with a set of what we call core values. And we attract people against that set of core values, and we rate them on how well they're doing their job based on their core values. To me, that's more important than the skills that they actually have. Those are the soft things that you bring to the job. Things like your attitude, your speed, your willingness to step up when needed, your dedication, your loyalty, the amount of caring that you put into your job. Those things we test and we evaluate constantly, because if you're going to fit into my company, you're going to have those qualities. After that, in your respective field, we want to make sure that you have the right education and background. So we have people who went through high school and have started working at Knight Aerospace. We have people that have gone through trade school like Hallmark and become aerospace technicians that then have come to Knight Aerospace and have very successful careers. We have people who went to college and got a degree in engineering, like some of the engineering avenues that I described to you earlier, or in accounting, or like myself, I was kind of a math person. My college degree is in finance. And so, it just depends on the different field that you're in. We expect you to have the right amount of experience and of education that goes together with our core values to make sure that you're going to be a fit for Knight Aerospace.
So what are some day-to-day problems you face?
Wow, that's a great question. We had, I'll tell you, for instance, this last week, Canada called us on Thursday. They said, we're going to fly the ABES module in a cargo aircraft to Africa to pick up 4 Canadians that have COVID-19. And we want a small modification made to the module. And we said, actually, they called us 2 weeks ago to say that. And we said, sure, we'll work on that. Well, they called us a week later and said, guess what? The mission has been moved up. We're leaving on Monday. This was Thursday. So now we said, okay, we've got to build that item to modify, the module like they wanted. We have to fly 2 technicians to Canada tomorrow. Like, we have to make the parts on Friday. We have to fly the technicians on Saturday. They have to implement the fix on Sunday so the aircraft can leave Sunday night. And to do that took all kinds of people having to step up, making the parts, making sure that we had everything here. The designers were immediately on it, making sure that we designed it exactly right. And then we had the issues of 2 of our technicians traveling to Canada because there's a quarantine issue in Canada. You can't go there. So we had to jump through all kinds of hoops to get the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Health from Canada to write letters to help our employees get through the airports so they could get there on time to do this. And then we had lost luggage. So one of the parts was missing, so we had to coordinate with the airlines to get that done. And then they had to take a COVID test, and we had to have the results within 4 hours so they could board the aircraft. And then they missed their flight because the COVID test didn't come in on time. So we literally had somebody rush over to the airport in San Antonio, pick them up, and drive them to Houston to get the next flight, or the connecting flight there, so they could catch it there and get to Canada in time. That's like a really interesting just example of what happened a week ago. That was exciting, but we stepped up, we got it done, and the mission was successful.
Where do you see this industry going?
Well, I think I think cargo aircraft will always be used for a lot of different kinds of missions. And I think more and more they're being used for people transfers. So we try to make the people transfer safe and reliable. So not only for patients, but for other people who are traveling in cargo aircraft. Like I said, they're not intended for people. So a lot of them don't even have like a bathroom. or, you know, a galley, so you don't have coffee or water or things like that. So we build all kinds of systems that roll on, just like you saw that medical module, roll on and lock into the aircraft. And they could have, you know, bathrooms, we call them laboratories, and galleys that have refrigerators and ovens and coffee makers and things like that. So they can have food to eat and drink, and they can sit in comfortable seats versus on the side of the aircraft in a little mesh chair. If you're flying for 16 hours to the continent of Africa, you'd really like to be sitting in a seat instead of, you know, on the side of the aircraft in a little tiny jump seat. So I think we'll continue to make products that support cargo aircraft. You also saw in the video that we make a lot of other products that support cargo aircraft. We make dollies, we call it ground support equipment. We make products that take engines off the aircraft, or radomes or propellers, and help them move around so they could be tested and then reattached to the aircraft. We make all kinds of products like that that support the cargo aircraft. And so I think this is just going to be, you know, the kind of business that we'll continue to do, but we're always looking for what is the customer needing, what are their pain points, and how can we be there to solve those for them.
That's great. We have time for one more CSOs, Owen and Reagan, okay?
Sorry, we had to switch computers. My computer is not doing the best today.
Happens often. Happens to me all the time.
So I have one more question. How long does it normally take to build a module?
So that module that we built for Canada, we designed and built in a record time. It was 7 months. We had done some preliminary design before we actually got that contract. I would say like maybe 10 or 15% of the job had been done, but from when they told us exactly what they needed and gave us a contract to when we delivered, it was 7 months, which is really record time. It takes a long time. It has taken our company up to 2 years to build a module for different customers, just depending on the technology that they want on it. The module is very sophisticated. It is, we build it to the same standards that they use to build the aircraft. So we often talk about we're building an aircraft that goes inside of an aircraft, because we use the same aerospace grade parts, and we use the same military standards to actually build it so that it is absolutely safe for people to be inside of it during all the phases of flight.
That is so interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you, CSOs Reagan and Owen, for your questions. Those were really good questions. Thank you so much for asking those.
Yep.
I want to see if anybody else from Mr. Kano's class would like to ask a question that maybe hasn't been asked yet, but it's something you're curious about or wondering. We've got a few minutes to end with a short Q&A, so you can put it in the chat room, or you can unmute yourself and ask too. I'll give a little wait time. I'll check the chat room too. Okay, no questions in the class. Well, that interview was so good that there's no lingering questions.
Well, I don't know about that, but I was, but they'll ask great questions. I think that helped a lot.
Yes, definitely. Thinking about how things change and evolve over time. I mean, those are really good questions when you think about how industries change as time changes and as we advance, our technology advances, and then seeing the possibilities of who can work at Knight Aerospace. It's super broad. You mentioned a lot of different backgrounds and experiences and education levels too. So that's outstanding that many people have the opportunity to work at a place like Knight Aerospace. And thinking about, again, how you guys are saving lives. This is such meaningful work. I've never even thought about before I met you about how, you know, you're building plane inside of a plane and how you're putting these modules that are all built in to an aircraft like that. And with a military background, I wonder what my dad has seen or my mom has seen in the military. You know, maybe they've seen different parts like that and have been a part of that. And I just think how there's so many personal connections to what you're talking about. And here, you're right here in our own backyard. It's amazing. And you guys are doing incredible work for so many countries. And I know that this is just the beginning of a great friendship between Brentwood and Knight Aerospace. And this is only the beginning. I think that, you know, you said something really interesting, that you had a background, Miss Bianca, in finance. And so what did that pathway look like from getting your degree in finance to now the CEO of Knight Aerospace and VP of the Dee Howard Foundation? What did that transition look like for you, that journey?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that, because I think that's so important. I grew up in a really poor household, and my parents were not educated. Nobody in my family was educated. And, people ask me, what did I want to be when I grew up? And my answer was not poor. I mean, that is really a terrible answer, but that's all I knew when I was growing up. And I did not have these kinds of opportunities to look into different, different fields and different careers like kids get to today. You guys are so blessed. But I knew I wanted to be in finance because that was so interesting to me, and I loved math. So I pursued that. And so when I graduated from the University of Texas, I went into banking. I thought that would be a great segue because I got to lend money to different businesses, and I got to be exposed to different businesses and how they operated. And I ended up working for one of my customers as their chief financial officer, and they were in the healthcare area. And I just fell in love with healthcare. I thought it was just so important to go to work every day and do something that you knew was helping people. But I tell you, I have kind of a need for speed, and I love aircraft. And and I was consulting at some point, and one of my friends said, you should meet this company. Knight Aerospace, it's been around for like 25 years, but they want to get into medical. And I think your background would be, a really good fit for them. And when I met them, I just could not believe this place could marry up all of the skills that I had, between finance and kind of the commercial lending and that, and then healthcare and medical evacuation. I was on the founding board of San Antonio Airlife, which was the helicopter rescue service that we all know here in town. This was 30 years ago. So I really got an interest in medical evacuation and what goes into that. And then, I will tell you, I have always had the biggest patriotic reverence for our military. I just think they are the cream of the crop. And I think the United States sits on top of it all. And I just had such an admiration for that. So to have a company that was going to marry all of that up, be in aerospace, military, medicine, and have it all, and have me be the CEO, where I had done that before, but not in an area that married up all of those great intersections of things that come together, like you said, here in San Antonio, was just like a dream come true. And I love my job. I pinch myself every day. I don't see myself ever retiring. I think this is the most fun ever to be building a company like this and to work with the great people that I get to work with every day.
Wow, that's awesome. What a great message especially for our aspiring STEM professionals here on the call. I think that, our journeys are not a straight path, right? Sometimes it's twists and turns, and all of those experiences that we build along the way build to something greater and greater and greater. And so I think that's so inspiring to hear about your journey and to see how far you've come, and then to see how passionate you are about your job, which not everybody gets to say. It's just really remarkable to see a woman in this position too. I have to say that that's incredible, and you're an inspiration to so many. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a total pleasure.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that there was, if there's anything else. Yes. Thank you, Mr. Kano, for sharing that. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your time with us too, Mr. Kano. I know how it is to be a teacher, and for fitting us in like this. We really appreciate your time and your students' time as well. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brentwood. Thank you, our Chief Science Officers. You did great interviewing. Wonderful job. Thank you again, Bianca Rhodes. Thank you, Wayne, and thank you to the Dee Howard Foundation for collaborating with us here at IDRA. We are looking forward to continuing conversations, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much for everybody's time today.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you, Mr.
Bye.
Thank you. Oh, thank you for the chat. Thank you so much. So kind.